Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today I'm going to be doing a deck review of my primary tarot deck, the Lover's Path Tarot. If you have watched my channel before, you might have heard me mention that this has been my tarot deck for approximately 15 years. I got it in either 2003, 2004, when I was 19 years old. Or maybe it's 16 years. No, it's 15 years. It's got to be 15 years. Anyway, I've had a long time. This deck has crossed oceans with me. This deck has been loved, beat up. It's been with me through grief and suffering and joy and everything. So I'm really connected and bonded with this deck. It's a little bit of a different style tarot deck though. So I'm going to cover that a little bit. I have been meaning to do this video for a while because I want to do a review of all the decks that I have, and the list is getting quite massive. I have a lot of decks at this point. Nothing like Supportive Tarot or even, I think it's Akali Sunflower, or even, God, Amethyst Engine. A lot of people have a lot of decks, but for me, this is a lot of decks. So basically, I wanted to talk about this deck, how it's different. This is actually pretty rare these days. I got this when I got the original kit, and I looked up this to buy this on Amazon. It's like $100, which I would not pay $100 for, but I'm going to show you what's in it. This is the deck. I have arranged it already in order because you'll see through my review it's best to look at it in that order. I still have this little handbook that I keep with it in this bag by Tame Wild Apothecary, who has wonderful bags. Unless you're super talented, like so many of my YouTube friends, and you make your tarot bags. I get so many subscription boxes that I have tons of bags, and they usually go in there. So, anyway, what prompted this right now was that, you may not know this, but I try very hard to keep up with your guys' videos, my subscribers and other YouTube creators. And I was watching Art and Tarot by Dee, and she did a shout out to Lady Knight of Avalon, and she mentions the Lover's Path Tarot, which instantly got me thinking, because I haven't seen anybody else do this, and it's kind of a different deck, and so I was really interested in what her take was, because it's my favorite and I've been using it for so long. And she has been doing a wonderful series about the stories behind each of the major arcana cards, which you'll see a little more what I mean in a second. And they're very good. She talks about the story and how it meets the archetype described in the card. And she's a very talented storyteller, and I highly recommend that. I'm going to leave a link below. Super talented, very fun. Even me, who has been using this deck forever, very much enjoyed it, and she points out different things that I hadn't thought of. Very good channel. I would totally check it out. Thank you, Dee, for recommending her. She's awesome. So, without further ado, the first thing I want you to, it's all sport deck. It's got a little bit wet when we moved from Washington to Oregon, but I still love it and it's still good. Surprisingly, it did not get water damaged in Korea, which in Korea all of my books curled because it's so humid there, and I had to have damp for it in my room, in my closet, and everywhere. It survived Korea, but it didn't make it through a rainstorm on the way to Oregon. But it's still perfectly good. I still use it. So, first thing is you'll notice is this is not the Fool card, but it is the Fool card. It's just a different take on the archetype. Second thing I want you to notice is the beautiful artwork, and you'll see that each of them are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful renditions of the major arcana especially, but all of them are just wonderful. And the third thing I want you to notice that has been, something that I've been thinking about lately is she's going to have like all different cultures and representations and people of color and all different backgrounds and mythologies. it really touched me because we're all making these archetypes, not just a certain deity or a certain culture. We're all making these archetypes. These archetypes belong to every single human being. And so I like to see different versions and different backgrounds and different cultures represented. Of course, if you're doing a Celtic tarot, obviously you're going to portray Celtic things. But I just appreciate when there's different types of mythologies there, and not just what I think of as the mainstream pagan ones that people are into. But I digress. Anyway. So, we're going to start there. I'm ignoring that dog scratching because this is the second time I've started the video because my son started trying to kick the door down. So, this is the book. First, oh, for goodness sakes. It's got this beautiful like tissue cloud thing. First page. Chris Wilder is the artist, very talented. Introduction, and just like trying to show you all the pages so that if you so desired, you could pause this and read. Major Arcana. So, it explains here the traditional cards of the Fool. These are the lovers, Tamino and Pamina. Keywords. Here's her version of the story. And this is the meanings. So, the Fool is innocence. This Merlin is the magician, magic, beautiful art. I highly recommend Lady Knight, her Lady Knight of Avalon. Her videos are really good and talks about more of the stories and how this might meet the archetype. Really good. I call this Scheherazade. Wisdom. She's the high priestess, and I'm super psyched that beautiful, wonderful, talented, magical Scheherazade is the representation for the priestess in this card, because she does not get enough credit for keeping this cray-cray man occupied for 1,001 nights to save herself. But I digress. The Empress is Cleopatra. Empress, lovers, story, meanings. King Arthur is the Emperor, power. Arthur and Guinevere. I'm trying to go slowly so you can pause if you need to read this. The Hierophant is my birth card. It's tradition, which is very cool. And it's Romeo and Juliet. Story. The Lovers is Osiris and Isis, which I absolutely love. I love their story. If you're unfamiliar with it, Isis is a boss. This one is just so beautiful. Tristan and Isolde. Desire, which is their version of the Chariot. Strength is Siegfried and Brunhild. Or is it Brunhilde? Abelard and Eloise is Contemplation, but also the Hermit, because he's like a monk. Danae and Zeus is Fortune, for the Wheel of Fortune. Odysseus and Penelope is Justice. Orpheus and Eurydice is sacrificed. This one's really sad. The Hangman. It's a really good story if you get a chance to read it, or if you just want to watch Lady Knight of Avalon. It's videos. Pluto and Persephone is one of my favorites. Transformation, or the Death card, which obviously Pluto is the god of death. Beautiful art in that one. Venus and Vulcan, or Temperance, or Balance. Paola and Francesca is Temptation. Beautiful card, really sad story, which is obviously the devil. Oh, Dido. Dido and Anus. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's what he is. So there we go. Oppression, or the Tower. Very sad story. Grace. This is one of the most beautiful ones, I think. Look at that. So pretty. This is Dante and Beatrice, the Star, or Grace. It's a brief story. Swan Lake, Yvonne and Odette. It's Illusion, or the Moon card. Very sad story also. But you're probably familiar with Swan Lake. So this is another absolutely lovely one. This is Cupid and Psyche, Awakening, which is the Sun card, which is one of my favorite cards. So beautiful. Here is the cheat sheet, the story, second page of the story. Another version of this story that's really good is the Polar Bear King, or East of the Sun and West of the Moon. You have to watch it. So good. This is Tannhauser and Elizabeth, Judgment. Oh, my favorite. Dionysus and Ariadne, Triumph. Ariadne is a boss. She's so wonderful, and she overcomes so much to have her happy ending, which is how the major arcana ends. So each of the minor arcana suits expound upon one of the story lovers in the major arcana. So for Cups, they expound on Tristan and Isolde. So Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Three of Cups. If you want in-depth, just in general tarot stories, tarot information, also Amethyst Ascension has been doing a series on each and every card, and she just did Three of Cups. Four of Cups. She doesn't look too pleased there. Five of Cups. He also doesn't look super pleased there. Fives are never my favorite. Six of Cups. Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups. Nine of Cups. Ten of Cups. Happy looking card. I love this card. princess instead of the page. Some people call this one the page. And it tells you that it's ragweed. Probably not saying that correctly. And then the Prince of Cups, or sometimes the Knight, is Tristan. Queen of Cups is Isolde. And the King of Cups is Mark. Then we have staves. And the story is Siegfried and Brunhilde. Ace of Staves. Very pretty, in my opinion. And we have the Two of Staves. Three of Staves. Four of Staves. Five of Staves. Look at all that action, all that strife. I was just thinking in my head, it's exhausting, but such is life. Six of Cups. I totally don't mind if you watch this on fast forward. Seven of Cups. Oh, it's not Six of Cups, it's Six of Staves. Anyways, I totally don't mind if you watch Seven of Staves. Watch this on fast forward because it's dense. But I'm really showing the book a lot just because I want, look at the movement in that. So cool. I know it's hard to get, so I wanted it to be available for anybody who wanted to read it. Ten of Staves. The Princess of Staves is Brunhilde. She's a Valkyrie. Or a bad bee. Prince of Staves is Siegfried. The Queen of Staves is Fricka. And the King of Staves is Wotan. Alright, now we're moving on to arrows. And let me tell you, arrows are rough for me. I'm not fond of this suit. Okay, Cupid and Psyche. I'm going to rest this a little bit because my weak arm's getting really tired. Okay, Ace of Arrows. Beautiful. Two of Arrows. Look at that. It's almost like very similar to what the Sun card looks like. Three of Arrows. She's not doing well here. This is a bad news for her. Four of Arrows. Five of Arrows. Things went from bad to worse for her. Six of Arrows. Seven of Arrows. Eight of Arrows. Oh, very sad. Sad day for her. She's having a bad day. More bad days. Nine of Arrows. Ten of Arrows. Of course, the princess is Psyche herself. Beautiful art. I love everything. Prince is Cupid. The Queen, of course, is Venus herself. And the King is Adonis. Okay. Last is the suit of coins, and the story is Danae and Zeus. Ace of coins. The kids are watching True. Two of coins. Three of coins. Four of coins. Five of coins. Six of coins. Seven of coins. Eight of coins. Nine of coins. Ten of coins. Oops, let me just put that right there. And just weak. 10 of coins. Princess, of course, is Danae. She's heavily pregnant. The prince is Perseus. The queen is Hera. And the king is Zeus. So, last but not least, the book talks about how to use it, you know, past, present, future, which is basic, the burning question, you know, just some examples of ways that you can do it, but I'm sure you guys have ways that you can read tarot ad nauseum. This is really nice journey into intimacy. It's a quick cheaters reference guide. So very cool. Oops, sorry, my fingers are not working. And then of course with the minor arcanas. Oh, look at that. Resources. So it tells you where you can do books about tarot, about the mythology, about the literature, and the musical works. The film works, the internet, lots of resources. A little bit about the author, beautiful little paper, and neat. So, this has been my favorite deck. This is like just my personal opinion review part. I like this deck because for 19-year-old me with no guidance whatsoever, but I was a bookworm, and as a young, kind of lonely young lady, I found solace in reading books. And so getting into the archetypes of the tarot without any guidance, but with the guidance of the literature and the mythology that I was partially already familiar with, really helped me to understand the archetypes that way, because most of our story and our literature are different variations of very similar themes. I'm sure like Hamlet is the Lion King, or you know, I mean, think of Cupid and Psyche, East of the Sun, West of the Moon, the Polar Bear Kings, just like different renditions of the same tropes, the same themes, because they're archetypical themes for humans. So it really helped me understand the tarot in depth on my own, without like a community. I have never really had any like a witchy or tarot or pagan community that I could connect with before now. So this is very nice, but it was very helpful to me. And plus, you know, there was a lot of upheaval and turmoil and movement as a young, you know, as a kid and as a young lady And I was very anxious and fearful. And so, like, I don't think I would have really attached two cards had they been like the devil or the tower or death. I think that by calling them like what the archetype actually means, like transformation for death, or oppression for the tower, or even towers like disastrous, like the story is disastrous, everything goes really wrong for her, so it really helps you understand the archetype in a way that's just like a fable that's supposed to give you guidance instead of something that's really fearful. So it helped me really connect in a personal level, which really helped me connect with this deck. I don't read for others, period. I don't know how you could do something so personal for somebody else, and I super commend you to the people who do, and you do it so well. But it's just so intimate. And as a nurse and empath and a healer, like, I am already intimately in people's shit all the time. I don't want any more. So I only read for myself or my family. I try never to have anybody touch my cards except for my little boy, but he's also, when he was really little, it wasn't a big deal, but he's also getting big and getting outside influences now. So if he touches my cards, I have to cleanse him. It kind of throws him off. And my husband totally throws him off. So just like, for me, it's really sensitive. And the way that I use, this is only the tarot deck that I use. I have other tarot decks. I don't use them in the capacity that I use this deck, which is to answer my questions or to give me guidance. And the way that I use tarot is not to like for the answers. I feel like for the most part, you know the answer. You know the answer. Tarot is just showing you the archetypes in such a way that you can't lie to yourself anymore, or you can't pretend you don't know, or what your subconscious knows, your conscious is now going to know, but it's always the truth. Or some version of it, because there's always variations of the truth too. So that's how I use it. I feel like most of the time I kind of know the answer. I just want, I want to confer with somebody on a spiritual level, a third party that's not necessarily partial to me. So that's the way that I use it. I know that sounds really like ephemeral reasoning, but it really does. It's the only way that I use it. It really is to confirm or illuminate what I feel like my subconscious already knows, what my intuition already knows to be true. So this is a really exceptionally long video. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much. Please, if you enjoyed this, give it a like. Let me know what you think about this variation. Check out Lady Knight of Avalon. She is so good at telling the stories. It's so entertaining. I highly recommend it. I'm watching it myself because it's so nice to connect to it, to almost like have a conversation with somebody else about it is how I feel about it. And I've never been able to do that, so I'm really grateful for that. Lady Knight of Avalon, you're awesome. And thank you so much, Art and Tarot by D, for introducing her. But thank you also for the reading the other day, you and Rochelle, Amethyst Ascension. It was very spot on, and it was very, very kind. Thank you so much. It was so fun. I'm going to cut this off. Thank you so much. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think. Like, if you haven't already, subscribe. We're getting close to those 700 subscribers where we'll have another giveaway. If you can get a hold of this deck and you're super curious about it, or if you love literature and mythology, I mean, this might be right up your alley. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.